Several times I wanted to quit. And I just came home and flopped on the bed crying and said, I'm going to quit. I told my broker, I think I'm just going to sell my car, and I think I'm just going to go get a job waiting tables. Because that's still a dream of mine, is to wait tables somewhere.
Pennie Carroll didn't just build a business. She built a movement from the basement of a rental house with a folding table, no signage, and 233 closings in 1 year.
I'm just a little high school graduate that's trying to make a living. And I thought, gosh, what can I do now? And so I thought, well, I'll sell these big, beautiful homes. When they say that you're going to be your own boss and that you're going to be able to control your schedule and things like that, you don't always control your schedule. It's the client that controls your schedule. So when you're growing your business, there's no such thing as balance. I have to say to the agents all the time, get over yourself. Right now, I'm being very real.
Yeah.
I didn't do my hair today. The results might take a while, and what you invest is what you get out, and high risk is high reward.
So in today's episode, we have Pennie Carroll. Pennie Carroll is not just another name on a sign, but a Des Moines icon. Oh. And has started off on her own, but then built a team that she works really closely with. So before we dive in, first, thank you so much for supporting the show. We want to bring more stories like this, so please like and subscribe. And without further ado, Pennie, thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Parks.
Yeah. So where did you just get back from again?
Florida. We spend quite a bit of time in Florida, and I bounce back and forth from there. And then we travel other places about once or twice a year.
What's been your favorite spot you've traveled to?
Oh, gosh. Well, Hawaii was beautiful. I would say probably French Riviera. The southern part of France is like a storybook.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really
Have you
cool.
been anywhere?
Not outside of the U.S. I mean,
Okay.
I love the mountains, so anytime I can get out to Colorado,
sure,
that's my favorite
That's
spot.
pretty too.
Yeah. I love to rock climb, dirt bike out there, lots of camping, hiking.
Nah, don't do much of that. Dirt biking, nah, gave that up, never took it up, actually.
So what's keeping you busy lately?
Boy, the market, I think the average person would be shocked for me to say that the market is crazy right now, because it is. It's different from the traditional craziness that's in the spring, but it is busy right now. Mm-hmm. It's our spring.
Yeah.
End of our spring market, I should say.
Yeah, almost summer already.
I'm going to turn my phone off. There you go. Okay.
How did it get to be summer already? It's like
I don't know.
Just flew by.
You just blink and it's here. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. So, how are you seeing the market shape up this year?
Well, I will say that we always kind of just sit on our hands from the middle of December till probably the first or second week in January, because for real estate agents, especially those of us that keep track of goals and productivity, it's a clean slate. So we start out 2026 with 0, and we're like, okay, how's this going to shape up? What are the numbers going to look like? And coming out of the gate, we were very optimistic because it was looking fantastic. It was a fantastic January, February. Then, for whatever reason, our March slowed down just a little bit, more than normal. And so April's numbers didn't look that great. It was still, because the first part was so heavy, it still looked okay. But now, I don't know what clicked again for consumers, but they're back into the mode of buying and selling.
Yeah. And
so we're looking at a really good April, May right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Especially since April's gone. So we're looking at a good May and June.
Any milestones or moments in this first quarter that stand out?
Well, we've been 5 years in our building now.
Wow.
You have visited our
Yes.
property, and so we're pretty excited to be right there on the east side and have served the community in that specific neighborhood for 5 years, and we're very pleased and happy with our location there. Milestones other than that, just that we're out there still buying, selling, and invested in real estate.
Yeah. So take me back to the beginning. What's before real estate? What was life like for you?
Well, I made a really good chicken parmesan sandwich at Burger King.
Oh, okay.
And I couldn't quite beat the production line when I was making hamburgers. There's a couple of guys, VJ was one of them, and he could whip up a hamburger faster than anything. And I tried my best, but they kept me behind the register. Okay. So that was way before real estate. And then got married really quick out of high school, 19 years old, and settled down and started having a family. And to support, well, I dabbled a little bit at Pepsi-Cola. I'm doing the reception work up there, and that was fun, meeting all the people of that organization, but never really triggered me to stick around. And then children came, so I wanted to be home with the kids. And in order to do that and help support the family, I took up some house cleaning. Loved it. Probably would still be doing it today, Parks, except my back gave out on me. And I thought, gosh, what can I do now? And so I thought, well, I'll sell these big, beautiful homes. And so that's what launched me into real estate about 23 years ago.
Nice. So, so out of high school, got married quickly, was a stay-at-home mom. So what kind of education did you need to, or what did you need to go through to get your license and start selling houses?
Yep. So high school education. So that's always, in the past, that's always kind of held me back, because a lot of people that I work with, rub shoulders with, have college degrees, masters, whatever. And I'm just a little college or high school graduate that's trying to make a living. And so when it came time to do real estate, I had to throw myself back into education, which is the 60-hour licensing requirements to get licensed as a real estate agent. And you have to go to the classes, take the tests, and study. And then after that, you have continuing ed that you do throughout the year. But gosh, there's so much more than just that 60 hours of education that you'll need to make it in real estate. And a lot of that you do not learn, and it's just a learning process along the way.
Yeah. So how many years are you in the real estate business now?
23 years as last month. Finished 23 years. And I didn't know if I'd last 1 year, Parks.
What was that first year like?
The first year, let me take it back to that first year. The first year I was on a team, and I didn't understand the flexibility that when they say that you're going to be your own boss, kind of like what you're doing, and that you're going to be able to control your schedule and things like that. You don't always control your schedule. It's the client that controls your schedule, and then you work around it. I didn't understand that sometimes to get a transaction put together, a real estate transaction put together, that there might be some give and take, not just from the buyer and seller, but also from the real estate agents, the people that are party to the transaction. So I maybe should have started keeping track of how many refrigerators I had to purchase, because maybe a seller took one out and they weren't supposed to, and the buyer's ticked and they're not going to close. And I'm like, okay, where can I find a refrigerator, and who can get it in the house for me? Or people that walk out of the house and leave a bunch of crap inside the home. And you're like, this poor buyer that I've been helping, now they're moving into their beautiful home that they're just so excited about, maybe a first-time home, but they've got all the leftovers from the seller. Who's going to do that for me, and how are we going to get this right? So a lot of that, you don't learn that kind of stuff in real estate school, or how to treat the customer. You don't learn that in real estate school. And so there's been a lot of things along the way that you learn, and you just treat people how you want to be treated. Yeah.
Were there any specific moments where you realized that, I can build something bigger than just me?
Wow. I don't think that I've ever thought or had that moment where I thought that I could build something bigger than me. But I think it happens, and then you're like, wow, how did that happen? Because the success that we've had, or that I've had in real estate, has come because of those people that I put around me. And I, to this day, even 23 years now into it, I feel incredibly grateful for the path that we've come along and where we're at right now today. And you feel that churning. And I just talked to my husband about that this morning. We feel like there's a churning going on. We don't know what it is, but we think it's going to be something pretty cool. And it's just... our faith comes into play in a lot of that. And I said, I'm not sure what God has prepared for us, but I feel like there's something that's going to be popping here, and good or bad. we don't know. But we feel like we're being prepared for something. Even each day that you wake up, you're being prepared for something ahead of you. But for some reason, this morning, my husband and I both thought there's something that's going to be happen. Parks, you're the first one I've talked to about it. So you can mark the calendar and see what happens.
Any suspicions?
No, not at all. I have no clue. I just know that we feel very strongly about some decisions that we're making here. And we think that it's to prepare us for the next. So we'll see. Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned, I guess. So tell us a story about running your business out of your basement.
Oh, sure. So at one point, we decided that I wanted to break away from the franchise companies. I worked for Remax, Keller Williams, Berkshire Hathaway, and my boys encouraged me, just go out on your own, Mom. Get your own brokerage. You'll do fine. And so I'm not real big and flashy, and we can work hard and quietly behind the scenes, kind of like the hidden hustle, right? And so I thought, well, we got this basement at this rental property. It's in Altoona, Iowa, where we sell, quite a bit of where our sphere of influence is besides the metro. So let's just camp down there. So we did. My assistant and myself, we worked on a white church table. And this was 5 years ago. Well, I guess we had a better thing than a table. But about 7 years ago, we were on just a folding table. We each had a folding table, and I don't even know where we put our files. But we got the job done. We closed 233 homes that year. And it was just, we were tucked away. Nobody could get to us. We had no yard sign or anything. And then my son, Joe, came along. He wanted to join. I was actually hiring, and so he came. I said, I need help. So he came along, and he said, hey, do you think we could get some desks? So not a big ask, but we got some desks for everybody. And then the next year, my other son came along. We put up some walls. We did put a bathroom wall up because that was very necessary. But then we put other walls around so we'd each have an office. The city of Altoona would come and inspect every 3 months or every 3 years our rental. Well, the third time they came, this would have been almost the end of the 6 years, they said, hey, you can't be doing this anymore. What the heck? We've been doing, nope, you can't, because you've got renters above you and you've got your office here. You guys can't be breathing the same air. You can't be sharing space. I'm like, they are my parents. They gave birth to me. What are you talking about? Why can't we share space? I love going up and saying hi to my mom and dad. They said, nope, it's against code. Whatever. So then that's when we plummeted to where we are right now.
Yeah. That's awesome. So tell me about that. Because that's also was it originally a residential house?
Yes.
Your office?
But it might have been zoned multifamily or something. So we've hung on to that, and we still use it as a rental today. But we are very happy to be out of the basement.
What other companies or tenants do you have on that property? Quite a few, right?
We have 3. So there's a heating and cooling, and then there's just some guys that like to work on, they're grease monkeys, and they like to work on their cars. And then then a family lives there as well. And so it's worked really well for what it's served for.
Yeah. And then out in the back, that garage, that's
where the grease monkeys are. That's what I call them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So how did you build that team from a one-woman show to what it is today? What was that? Your first hire was your son?
Right.
Is that right?
Right. Yeah. So that year that we did all those transactions, the 230 some, I told my assistant, we can't do this again next year. And she said, oh yeah, we're going to do more. I said, no, physically, I can't. It's affecting my health. And secondly, our clients, I don't believe, are getting my full attention and the service that they deserve. We're getting the job done, but what is the transaction like? What is the family like? What's the customer experience like? Right. And so that's when I said, Joe, I'm hiring. If you want to come, you got to come now. And so then he came, and then Lauren, my other son, wanted to come, of course. And then we didn't think much of it. I thought that it would be mom and 2 sons, like 2 men and a mom or something like that. So we started out that way. And then another person who I really respect in the Des Moines Metro, specifically in Altoona, would be Mark Vanderteig. And he came to me and he said, because I had listed some stuff that he would work on and flip. And he said, I'm going to be getting my real estate license because I'm done at the church, Lutheran Church of the Cross, and I would like to work with you. I thought, whatever. I've heard so many people say they're going to get their license and then they never do. Sure enough, a year later, he called me and said, my license, what do I do? So I called my sons. I said, hey, Mark Vanderteig, he did get his license and he does want to Salesforce. What do you want to do? They said, well, that's a no-brainer, Mom. He works for the church. He built up that church. He's got good people skills. He works well with volunteers, and he doesn't make like a huge income, so he wouldn't be doing it for the money. He'd be doing it for the people. And so he joined us. And then shortly after that, before we moved to that house or the office that we're in now, just people started calling me. I'm like, wow, that's where Parks, where you say, how did you know you could create something bigger than you? I didn't. People saw it in me before I understood it. And that would be probably the same in a lot of successful people's lives, is that maybe they didn't see it, but somebody else did. Because there were several times I wanted to quit. And the first time was when another agent yelled at me, and I've never been yelled at like that. And I just came home and flopped on the bed crying and said, I'm going to quit. And my husband said, no, you're not. Don't worry about. And I didn't understand that in the business world, that you can be very angry with somebody one minute and the next minute you're putting a deal together and everything's fine. I'm like, what? Another time I was going to quit was when I decided to not be on a team any longer. And I told my broker, I think I'm just going to sell my car, and I think I'm just going to go get a job waiting tables. Because that's still a dream of mine, is to wait tables somewhere. But it hasn't happened yet. And he said, no, you're not. You're going to get your signs, you're going to go stick them in yards, and you're going to sell houses, Pennie. I'm like, okay, I'll give it a try.
Yeah. What got you through those hard moments?
I think having some good people around you that believed in you and that could give you advice, that have gone before you. And then also your faith, or my faith, I should say. And if you wake up every morning believing that you're doing what God wants you to do, it doesn't matter what's thrown in your path, because there will be a way out, and you just got to trust and believe. And that seems easy. It's hard, but if you are right where you believe God wants you to be, then all the other details don't really matter.
So that first year that you went on your own and you got your own brokerage, what was your secret to scaling? Like you were at a point where you wanted just to be done. And and then you had this seemingly huge success.
Yeah. So I think when I think about flopping on that bed crying because somebody yelled at me, or sitting in my office crying because I didn't know how to send a fax. Do you even know what a fax is, Parks?
Maybe.
Okay. Those moments when I wanted to give up for silly reasons, to where we are now with the team of, I think, 15 or 16 agents and a strong staff. I think I had to learn that I can't do everything within the company. So when my son came by and I needed to, okay, here's some buyers, go show them some houses. And he actually did really well. And I'm like, well, those were my buyers. Not that I wanted the income from those buyers, but those are my people. The relationships. We're in a relationship business in real estate. And what do you mean they're happy? I didn't get to help them. And realizing that there are a lot of people that can do a lot better job than what I can do, and giving them the resources to get the job done, the encouragement, the support, the training, and then watching them blossom and flourish, whether it's in real estate or in podcasting or whatever business that someone's venturing out on. I get a lot of satisfaction by supporting them and encouraging them. And so I think that's what's really helped our business grow and scale, is just not trying to have my hands in every little thing and giving it to people that can do it much better than myself.
Yeah. I talk to a lot of small business owners that feel stuck in whether it's a one-man band or just them and another person, they feel like they're stuck doing everything themselves. So, what advice do you have to get them out of that and to have a hiring process to bring on good people?
Sure. It is scary. I will say that. And my first hire was my assistant, April, and she's been with me probably for, maybe 18, 19 years. And when I hired her, there was no sleeping in for me. It's probably what drove me to those 200 plus sales in 1 year, because I had to make her payroll. It wasn't that I was getting out there and getting the job done because our family needed it. Now it was because I needed to pay April, and her family was depending on me to do well. And so sometimes, maybe because I didn't have a college degree in business, I didn't get in the way of knowing what could happen. I just thought, okay, this is what I'm going to pay her, so this is what I need to make.
Right.
And it's what caused me to get up in the morning and get the job done, because I knew I had expenses. Yeah. So, I mean, that's a hard spot to be in. And then you also need to not take the foot off the pedal, because even though April was taking care of things, I couldn't just be absent business owner. I still have to be involved in the weeds.
Right. Yeah. Well, people say you're a marketing master.
Well,
what are some scrappy, smart things that you've done to stand out?
At the beginning, you have to be very careful that not everything that shines and sparkles in front of you is going to be good for your marketing. So, and you need a scale with that too. So when you jump in, you might want to try every latest and greatest thing, but you need to have a plan. You need to lay it out and have a plan, and then an affordable plan. Because I think some of the things, because we're in a relationship business, my marketing, you want people, you want to know how they feel after they've experienced being with you or seeing your brand. What does that make them feel? So for me, it's not going to be a billboard that's up there for 30 days. People, the social media aspect has really helped, because they get to see you being real. Like right now, I'm being very real.
Yeah.
I'm not polished. I didn't do my hair today. Things like that. You want to be real with people, because they're inviting you into your. I'm being invited into your home, and so that's being pretty transparent. And so I'd like to try to be transparent with them. That's the subtle part of marketing. The other part of marketing, the logo, the shirts, the T-shirts, all that. But until you can do that, maybe volunteer through the chambers. The Chamber of Commerce, I will say, is the foundation of where you start. I've had so many people that I've met, relationships, long term. We're talking about 20 years of being in the chambers, meeting these people. And the chamber gives, you pay a one-time fee for the year, and then you have all these opportunities to help serve. And that's where it's going to come back to you. And then listening to people that are smart in marketing. I happened to, Farm Boy, Jason McCarter, was the first person that I ever talked to, and he was new in the business, and I was new in the business. And I said, Jason, I don't have a team anymore. I'm doing my own thing. Can you help me? And he said, yeah, I can help you. And he sent me the proof, and my head was on the business card, and it was kind of big. And I'm like, Jason, don't you think that's a little big? And he's like, Pennie, people need a face with your name. So trust me on this. So I trusted him. He did blue because it's blue with loyalty and stability. And then he had a little circle in the PCA that was copper. And he said, Pennie, copper. And I'm like, okay, whatever, Jason. But I trusted him. Yeah. And his estimate to do all this seemed high to me. But I thought, I don't know a lot about marketing. I need to do this. And then the other things that repetition, things that go with your business, building gingerbread houses.
Right.
You've done that, Parks.
As a little kid, yeah.
Yes. Building gingerbread houses. We build houses. Really easy. Yeah. I'll have some ladies, Pennie, are you going on a bus trip this year? We haven't done the bus trip for 5 years, but we did it over and over and over, the same day, the same place, all the time. The tacos, people may have tasted our fried tacos that we would serve at one of the chamber events over and over again, where one guy said to me, Pennie, why do you do those tacos? And I just took a bet, and a lady walked by that was serving us, and I said, hey, you acted like you knew me. Do you know me? She said, yeah, you make those really good tacos. So just little things like that you do over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. So
repetition.
Yeah, repetition.
Yeah. What's your favorite marketing strategy that you've implemented in your business?
I would say to be a big fish in a small bowl. So we maybe don't blanket all of Des Moines with all of our marketing, mm-hmm. but we'll take specific neighborhoods, schools, and plaster our stuff there. Mm-hmm. And then they actually go out and market. Or a really good tool I like, or group that I like, is BNI, Business Network International, which you've come and been a guest of mine. Mm-hmm. So when I walk into that room, Parks, it's still networking, but when I walk in there, that's my board of directors. They're the ones that can be real with me. I see them every Thursday morning. This morning I was with them. Mm-hmm. And I can say, hey, what do you guys think about this idea? And they're like, no, Pennie, don't do that. We've done that. Don't do that. Do this. And they've been trusted advisors. So I like to say I'm going to a board meeting every Thursday morning at 7 a.m.
Yeah, that's fun. How has social media changed in your career?
We can't ignore it. So I'm like, gosh, darn it. We just got all our marketing and I'm comfortable with how we're doing it. And then I get old. And so now I have to have young people like you around to help me with the social media, because you have to do it. But I will say it's very effective and cost effective too. Mm-hmm. It can reach people that I've never even reached before. And it doesn't cost a whole lot except when you want it produced and done well and effectively. Yeah. So I will say that when I don't have my guy that speaks truth into me sitting here right now, but sometimes he will be doing things like this with me, not the podcasting, but maybe a reel or something. Quit talking about yourself, Pennie. Now that's the purpose of this one that we're doing here.
Right.
But if he's saying, okay, tell me how you're going to market this property, I'll start talking about, no, it's not about you, Pennie. It's about the house. It's about the customer experience. Mm-hmm. Don't be talking about your team and what you're doing and all that. It's about them. And so delivering the right message, you still need that professional in there to help you. Doing the producing and whatever you'll do with this to cut it and edit it and make it look good, you and your friend here are professionals at it. So I'm trusting you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think it's been fun. And it makes you more real than what just a still portrait on a bus bench. That's what I used to do. On a bus bench will do. Yeah.
That's awesome. For somebody that doesn't know where to start or how to create content, what are some of your guys' brainstorming sessions, or how do you come up with ideas to create?
I have the opportunity of having my nephew as my marketing director or social media guru or whatever. And because we have worked together now probably 24 years, from me diapering him to Solomon Jones now, an adult married with a child and working on my team now for 4 years, we can finish each other's sentences. He knows the direction that my mind is thinking. He also grew up making gingerbread houses, Parks, like you. Yeah. But he also can be very real with me because I'm his aunt. So we can banter back and forth. So those brainstorming sessions might look like this. I send out a text to the team last night. Hey, we're going to go walk through Mark Vandertyg's house because he's getting ready to sell it. I'm bringing a container of 100 little plastic ducks. We're hiding them all over his house. Send that out to the team chat. Saul sends a text to me this morning. That is brilliant. That's hilarious. I can't be there. Please video and still photos of Mark not paying attention and you hiding stuff and the other agents hiding stuff. and I will put together a reel, and we will make it about house touring.
Right.
So I don't know what he's going to do with it,
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll brainstorm like that, or he might say, what do you got for the Living magazine? Well, this is what I'm thinking for the Living magazine, and then he goes with it. That's part of scaling the business too, where I'll tell you what you do takes a lot of time. It does. This might look like a cute little 45-minute session here, but what would you say your background is going to be on this? How much time do you think you're going to spend on this to make me look great, Parks?
Well, it took me half hour, 45 minutes to put together questions and study, your websites, your socials, get some background on you, and coming here with Aki and he'll, but sitting down, this is an hour-long conversation, and then after that, Aki will do the first round of edits, and I'll tweak some things as well, add in animations, add in, highlighted points, and after that, then it's the publishing phase, and then you're publishing everything, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all the Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of those, I don't know, it probably takes more than 6 hours, I would assume, all in all.
So let's think about that. So if I tried to do all of that, 6 hours, what am I do? My text messaging is going to blow up because while I'm doing all of that, because there's people that need to get in houses, people that I need to call back to list, agents that maybe have questions about an offer. Who's going to make sure that April's needs questions about what another agent needs to be paid for commission, and maybe somebody else needs help negotiating an offer or doing So then that's why it's so important to let the people that are doing a good job on it, let them take care of it so you can do what you do well. I think it's called staying in your lane. So anyway.
Yeah. Not to mention the hours and hours it took to learn how to do all of this.
Yes, because there's some value in experience. And that's what I try to bring to the table when I'm working with a buyer or seller. And I think as I am training newer agents, I'm understanding more what value experience brings to the table. So, yeah.
I do believe that if you set your mind to anything, you can learn how to do it.
Right.
The thing, is it worth your time?
Right. Yeah.
Is it worth trusting a professional to, pay them what they're worth and have them do it and do it fast and efficient?
Right. That was hard because I was a housekeeper. So I'm not going to have somebody clean my house.
Right.
Why? I changed that a while ago. Yeah.
For any business owners nervous of getting on camera or creating content, putting themselves out there, not just social media, but marketing in general, what can you say to that?
Get over yourself. I have to say it to the agents all the time because I had to not think about coming here today. So I had to think about not just go down there and sit with Parks. It's okay.
Right.
And that, I say to our agents too, I said, you know what, that last podcast you watched, what was that person wearing? Oh, I don't even remember. What was their hair like? Did they have gray roots? Take a look. You know what I mean? They're interested in you as a person and in what you have to say. And that's what matters. So I tell people that are wanting to do social media or podcasting, whatever, get over yourself. You're not that important. The people, the audience are what are important, and answering the questions transparently and to the best of your ability.
What's the hardest part of running a business that people don't see? What's the hidden hustle?
Your checkbook. Gosh, people don't see that. They don't see what you're juggling. And the hidden hustle, I would think, are the hours that you put in behind the scenes. I try really hard to get 7 hours of sleep, but that's not how it was at the beginning of my career. So there were occasions, I tried not to do it very often, when I wasn't my own broker, when I was working at a brokerage, that I maybe didn't go home that night. Now, my kids were already gone, but maybe I stayed up and then I heard the front door open. It was already 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'd slip out the back door, go home, catch a couple hours of sleep, and then go right back to it. So when you're growing your business, there's no such thing as balance. They talk about a table with 3 legs or a stool with 3 legs and you got to have balance, whatever. No. When you are out there growing your business, it's going to be lopsided. Mm-hmm. It's going to be hard. And you've got to put that in. So some agents will say, well, Pennie, I want to do what you're doing. I want to be where you are. Okay, 23 years. Call me up and let's see how you're doing. They don't want to put the time in. Right. And time might be 10 hours today, or it might be 10 years, whatever that takes. People, it wasn't just given to your mom and dad. I think of your mom, Amy, in school teaching and how many years she's done that. And now she can walk into a classroom and she feels confident and comfortable and really helping those kids. And more than that, helping the other teachers that are around her. Mm-hmm. Or your dad, I can't even keep up with him on what he's doing and running and selling and creating. And you've seen them work. Mm-hmm. Your mom's put in lots of hours after she gets home from school, or your dad who doesn't stop, and that's what it is with real estate and with my company. Now, I've been able to, in the last 5 years, been able to take the pedal off a little bit and enjoy some of the luxury of that hard work. So that's what I would tell business owners. Just stick it out. Keep track of your really close relationships, because you do not want it to harm your marriage or your family right there. Mm-hmm. But they all need to understand and buy into it. My husband has bought into it fully. And so that helps me be able to do what I do.
Your impact in the community goes way beyond business. How has your faith guided your journey?
That's really a good question. So I've had to, like when we talked earlier, that if you wake up every morning knowing that you're right where God wants you to be, then all those little details don't matter. And so when someone's maybe yelling at me, my value isn't found in what they think. My value is found in what God thinks. Mm-hmm. And I've maybe had to rub shoulders with people that maybe don't. Let me back that up. Because we work with contracts and helping people buy and sell, we have a lot of influence on what may happen with that transaction or that purchase agreement. And there are opportunities in my business and anyone's business that you can do something so that it favors you more than another person, but what is right, what is right. So that's the part of the business part. But then as far as the community part, we're commanded to love one another, bear one another's burdens, and to encourage each other. And so, again, I love helping other people in the community that are trying to better our community or better their business. And so I would say that comes from a deep faith in God and from wanting to do the right thing and spread the gospel. And whether that's through real estate or hosting a bunco group at my house that's in the neighborhood, or inviting people to eat breakfast with somebody off of WHO. It was the omelet guy, the omelet king came to town, and I won a breakfast through WHO. And so I thought, well, I'm just going to start inviting these neighbors to some omelet breakfast that he's going to come and make at my house. It's just been a lot of fun to have the paths of church, business, and community kind of intertwine.
After years of deals, what's your best piece of sales negotiation advice?
This one's hard for me. I know you're going to find this hard to believe, but you have to shut up. So I had to just be quiet. Mm-hmm. So when I'm, and not be over anxious to answer for the client. So I present what's going on. I usually send it off to them through a text or email and say, when is a good time to talk? Mm-hmm. So they have time to resonate. I know probably about 95% of the time now, maybe even higher, of how it's all going to shake out, but my client has to get there. So I have to be patient. I would say in the sales, you're quiet, listener, and patient, because it might be the first time they've ever sold or bought a home. Even though I've maybe done it 100, 200 times this year, they need to wait and understand the process. So that's probably one of my biggest pieces of advice with sales.
What about negotiation in general? Negotiating with other agents or with the
buyer seller?
Yeah.
Negotiating with other agents, you need to come at it as, hey, we're going to come together to try to make this the best solution for the buyer and seller. If you come together like this, try to come together like headstrong, like I'm going to get as much as I can for my buyer. Well, that's maybe my goal. It should be my goal. I'm going to try to get as much as I can for my client. But it's important for me to negotiate well with the agent so that the process of getting my client the best deal is not hindered by how I treat the other agent. And that's just part of our code of ethics with real estate too, is that we treat everybody fairly, and that's including the other agent. Yeah. So the negotiation part of the sales is a process that I really like because it's not always about the dollar. And so sometimes there's other things that we can negotiate outside of the purchase price that will make the deal successful. And then as far as my clients, I want my client to walk away knowing that I worked really hard. I don't like to use the word fight, but that I worked really hard to get them the most money in their pocket in the shortest amount of time, in the smoothest transaction possible. Do you have any
creative negotiating memories from deals in the past?
Oh boy, I didn't give that much thought today before I came.
How can you get creative in negotiation?
Sure, that's a good question. So maybe possession. So a big thing right now for buyers or sellers is it's really, really hard and to pack up your house and close that day and then move into the next house. So for sellers, if we're going back and forth on price and we can't quite get it, and they want to feel like they won. Everybody wants to feel like they won. Yeah. So Mr. Seller, in order to feel like that we can accept this purchase price, even though it's a little short of what you want, why don't we ask them if you can have 48 hours to move out? That means we close on your home, and then you have 48 hours to get everything packed up and get to your next house, because those people most likely need that money from closing to buy their next home. Right. But the people that just bought their home, they want to move in. So sometimes we'll do delayed possession, not a whole, with a seller, I try my hardest to do that. With a buyer, I don't like to see that too much because you're going to be in their home that they now own, and I don't want you wrecking it. Right. What if somebody puts a couch through the wall as they're trying to, so there's the whole possession delayed. There might be personal property that we could throw in, and so that's another thing that we could try to work out that way, or skip an inspection.
What's the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
I'll tell you what, Mark Vandertag always says this to us, because the whole office could be falling apart because of one little deal that happened or one little issue that came up. And Mark always says, Pennie, did anybody die and did anybody get cancer? And the answer is usually no to that. And so it's going to be okay. One other piece of advice that he gave to me is, Pennie, are you doing what you love to do? Because if you don't, stop. So I can say with confidence, I am doing what I love to do. Right. And when I love it no longer, I will stop.
Looking back, what's one thing you wish you knew when you started?
That everything's going to be okay. You have a high school degree. Don't let that stand in your way. Everything's going to be okay.
When you think about your legacy, personally or professionally, what matters most to you?
I think what matters most to me would be for my family to know that they're loved and that I did my best for my clients. And I think for them to know that they're loved and that they were the most important in my life, and that my clients feel like that'd be a personal side. Business side would just be that the clients know that I worked as hard as I could for them.
Yeah. Any other final thoughts?
No. Are we done?
We're getting close. Yeah, we're getting close. For listeners working on their own hidden hustle, what's one piece of advice you could give to them?
Don't give up. Don't give up. And that the results might take a while. The results might take a while. And what you invest is what you get out. And high risk is high reward. Yeah. So if you're not willing to risk, your reward's going to be lower. That's the advice I'd give.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show,
You're welcome.
Pennie. Yeah.
Thank you, Parks.
All right. Thanks, and keep hustling.